5 signs you are not ready to get into a relationship. Let's get straight into it. Reason number 1, you have to become the one before you get with the one. A lot of people chase a relationship. They want to get with someone because they feel lonely, because they feel, needy, or whatever the case may be. They chase relationships, but they're actually not even prepared themselves to get into that relationship. Are you the one? Are you someone who is dateable? Are you someone who is lovable? Are you someone who is easy to handle? Are you someone who is easy to be in a relationship with? The most important thing is fixing yourself before you start to fix someone else. From my personal experience, and that's in so many people's relationships, is that they're broken. They're a broken person, but they want love. They're feeling needy. They're feeling lonely, so they get with someone else who's also a broken person because they didn't actually become the one. So what happens then? These two broken people come together and they just become a mess. And then what happens? They become each other's project. And the worst thing you can do is make someone your project. Get in with someone because you feel lonely, and then you start having to fix each other. That is the worst thing, because the relationship then becomes so toxic. It just becomes very messy, okay? So that is why it's so important that two people come together as a whole. You're not going to be perfect in this life, never. There's not one person on this earth who is perfect other than Jesus, but no one's ever going to be perfect. But you can fix certain things in you before you get with someone, so that when you do come together, it's not going to become toxic in the end. Which leads me on to my next point, which is, if you are not healed, you cannot get into a relationship. You should not be getting into a relationship. When I say you're not healed, that could mean so many different things. If you're not healed from your childhood traumas, if you're not healed from your ex, if you're not healed from your previous relationships, if you're not healed from daddy issues, from mummy issues, whatever the case may be, whatever, what trauma you've had as a kid, whatever inner child you have in you, if you're not healed that inner child in you, you should not be getting into a relationship. If you have an addiction to those websites, I'm not going to say the word because I don't want YouTube to take me down, but if you have an addiction to those websites, I'm trying to say those websites, you should not be getting into a relationship, because those websites completely destroy your mind, okay? That's a whole different subject, but those websites are destroying you. I'm telling you right now. They're creating these fake realities. They're creating these fake hopes, fake dreams, and it's causing your dopamine levels to get to a certain point, to the point where when you do get into a relationship, it's not hitting that same dopamine rush. So you're going to become unsatisfied in your relationship. And it also, obviously, it all stems down to lust. These things open the door to cheating. These things open the door to, looking at other women, looking at other men. It really destroys relationships. So make sure you are healed from all these things. That's, for the websites. But in terms of like daddy issues, in terms of your ex, if you're still thinking about your ex, you should not be getting into a relationship. Because a lot of people break up with their exes and they're like, okay, I'm ready to move on because I need to get over him. A lot of people say, in order to get over him, you have to get under him. That's the worst thing you could do, honestly, because by doing that, you're just inviting spirits into your heart. You're inviting soul ties, and that is the worst route to go down, okay? But that's a whole different story. But my point is, I'm only talking from experience right now, but guys, by the way, like, I used to get into a relationship, I'd get my heart broken, get cheated on. I was like, okay, let me move on now. I need to find someone else. I need to move on. And I get with that person without even healing those scars. And then I'd end up bleeding on that person. Because if you're not healed, you're bleeding. So when you get with that other person, you're going to start bleeding on them. And that's going to cause them pain. And that's just going to cause a mess in your relationship. So you've got to make sure that you are healed from your childhood traumas, from unforgiveness, from so many different things. Make sure you're over your ex. Make sure, you're not holding on to anything, so that when you get with that person, it's not going to cause an issue in that relationship. So my third point, I'm just going to say straight. Are you thirsty? That's just a question. Are you thirsty? Are you getting into a relationship because you are thirsty? Because a lot of us actually get into a relationship, like I said, I've been through this so many times. A lot of us get into relationships because we're thirsty. And then because we're thirsty, when we actually get into that relationship, we realize, oh my gosh, this isn't actually what I should even be in right now. So when you're thirsty, imagine being in a desert right now, okay? You're in a desert. You're super, super thirsty. When you're thirsty, you start to see mirages. You start to, hallucinate. So imagine you're in those cartoons when you're in a desert and you're so thirsty, so you start to see this like fountain with like springs of water. You're like, oh, I just need water. That is what it's like being thirsty for a relationship, okay? Because you're thirsty, you start seeing things. So you start to idolize people. You start to see mirages of people, and you start to see the best version in them. You're blinded. Like, when people say love blinds you. So when you're thirsty, you start to see things in people. So say there's a really toxic guy, and everyone's like, girl, look at the red flags, stay away from him. Look at that girl is not the one to be messing around with, stay away from her. Because you're thirsty, you have this mirage, and you block out all the red flags, you block out all the negative things about them, and you only see what you want in them. And that is a dangerous thing, because when you actually get with them, you realize this was not love. This was actually thirst. And relationships like that, relationships that start on thirst and not love, actually come crashing down. Even if it lasts 3 years, it will come crashing down, because what it started on was a foundation of thirst and not of love. There's a few ways to know if you are thirsty. So one example is if you want to get someone just to look cute on Instagram, just to post pictures with, just to, you know, be cuddled up in wintertime because it's cold outside. There's loads of different examples, but make sure that you're not getting into something because you just desire it, just because you want it. Is there a purpose behind it? Make sure there is a purpose and why you want to get with someone. Not just because you need neediness, not because you feel lonely, but because you see something that God is telling you to go for. Go after a relationship that is God's will for your life. If God has confirmed it, then go for it, okay? But never go something based off your emotions. Go off what God's will is. Because a lot of us, like me again, a lot of us get into relationships and then we ask God to bless it after. So before we get into a relationship, we should be asking God, is this the man for me? Is this the woman for me? Should I get into this relationship? If not, then I don't want it. I don't care how beautiful he is or how gorgeous she is. I don't care. Okay, because if it's not God's will, I do not want it for life. Because the safest place you can be is in God's will. When we try to do things our own way, it will always come crashing down, okay? Always. So make sure before you get into a relationship, you ask God, okay, God, is this your will for my life? Is this the person that I should be with? Is this person going to take care of me? Is this person going to be loyal to me? You know, am I going to be able to create a family with this person, a future with this person? Ask him those things before you get into it, instead of, you know, I feel like this person is so beautiful, like, oh, he gives me the butterflies. Butterflies are temporary, okay? Butterflies fly away. Those butterflies are gonna go. Love is a choice, okay? You have to make sure that you are willing to stick with this person. That's a whole different point. Let me come back to that later on, okay? My point is, don't get into a relationship and then after ask God to bless it. Okay, God, I love this person, I'm gonna get with them. And then things starting to get rocky, like, okay, God, please bless this relationship, please help us out. But thankfully, we do have a graceful, amazing God who works all things out for our good. So let me just put that out. Okay, so the fourth one is kind of a 2-in-1. So it's communication and trust issues. It kind of goes back to the point number 2, which is healed from the past. I didn't actually mention this, but if you have trust issues, if you've been cheated on in the past, you know, if you're dealing with a lot of trust issues, whether it's with your family, whether it's from, you know, your childhood or friendships or whatever the case may be, if you're dealing with trust issues, you need to overcome that, okay? You need to hand that to God, and you need to know that yes, that relationship may have broke your heart. Yes, that man or that woman may have torn you to pieces, literally. What you need to know is, even if that man completely broke your heart, even if that woman completely destroyed your life, okay, you need to know that God still has a plan and a purpose for your life. Even if those relationships didn't work out, he still has someone good for you that you can trust, who you can love, who you can put your faith and complete trust in, okay? I've been cheated on in every single relationship I've ever been in. I was abused, I was cheated on, I was lied to, I was manipulated, I was controlled, everything you think of, okay? Why do you think I can still learn to love again? Why do you think I can still trust again? Because I know that my God is so good that if I can trust him, I can trust him, okay? If I can trust God, I can trust another man again, if it's his will. And that's why I said it in the previous point, it's so important to know that it's God's will for your life, because if it's not God's will, then it can come crashing down again. But if it is his will, he's going to protect it. He's going to cover it. He's always going to be in the center, protecting that relationship and protecting both of your hearts. And then going on to communication, are you good at communicating? Okay, one thing that I've learned now is that communication is the most key thing in relationships. If you cannot communicate, there is no point in getting into a relationship. Communication is so important because it's what holds a relationship together. Because like I said, love is a choice, okay? Love is a choice. When you get into relationships, hardships are going to come, trials and tribulations are going to come. So if your relationship is just based off fun times, when those hard times come, you guys are going to crumble. It's going to come crashing down because you don't have that foundation of communication. Me and Ricky have this quote, and it's, in order to have an easy life, you have to have the hard conversations. And that's so powerful. If you're in a relationship, you need to be able to have those hard conversations. And a lot of people struggle to have those hard conversations. A lot of men struggle to be honest to the women. A lot of men struggle to be like, listen, I'm dealing with this addiction. Listen, I keep seeing this girl in the gym. I'm not gonna lie, I find her really pretty and I'm struggling with this. That's how we should be in a relationship. We should be so open and so honest and so humble and transparent. We should be hot. Humble, open and transparent, as Mike Todd says. But if you can't get to that level of communication, there's no point getting into a relationship, because it's not going to be a relationship. It's going to be a little fling that's going to last a few months, and then when the hard times come, it's not going to work out because you guys haven't established that communication, having the hard conversations that's so necessary. So make sure that before you get into a relationship, you've mastered the art of communication, of being open, talking about your feelings, not being afraid, keeping everything in all the time. It's so important to confess, because the Bible says confess to one another so that you may be healed. A problem shared is a problem halved. When you actually speak to your partner, even if it's hard, okay? I always say, I would rather hurt the partner by telling them the truth than hurt them by them finding out a lie. So even if it hurts to tell your partner something, tell them anyway, because you'd rather them be hurt by your truth than finding out another truth, if that makes sense. Make sure you're able to communicate before you get into a relationship. Okay, number 5, last but not least, are you idolizing relationships? It kind of ties in with everything. You know, if you're after a relationship because you feel thirsty, if you're after a relationship because you feel lonely, or you just want that someone next to you because you feel like time's running out. Maybe you're in your late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and you're so desperate for a relationship because you're like, I don't like being alone. I feel desperate. I understand, because God actually says 2 is better than 1, okay? God wants us to be in a relationship. He wants us to. But he doesn't want us to get into something that he knows is actually going to destroy us in the end. He wants us to make sure we are ready. And he's not going to give you the right relationship until he knows you're ready. A lot of people think that relationships will solve all their issues. If I just get married, if I just have kids, if I just, get into that relationship, if I just get with that guy. It's not going to solve your issues, okay? God is the one who solves all your issues. And relationships are a blessing, yes. Yes, they change your life. Yes, they can bring you so much joy, so much happiness, so much love. But they're not going to solve those issues that we spoke about earlier on in this video. Our relationship with God is our ultimate relationship. And if we have our relationship with God right, that will determine all of the other relationships that we have in this life. If you have an amazing relationship with God, that's going to determine how amazing your relationship with your boyfriend or your girlfriend is going to be. And the sad thing about idolizing relationships and wanting to rush into a relationship, sometimes you don't even know your worth. So when you don't know your worth, you give discounts. I actually heard this from a pastor called Pastor Rich Wilkerson. He literally said those words. When you don't know your worth, you'll give out discounts. You're going to give yourself away to people that don't actually deserve your love. To people who, just because you feel thirsty, just because you feel needy, you're going to get with that guy. And what's going to happen? That guy's going to take full advantage of your kind heart, your pure heart. He's going to break that heart of yours because you didn't know your worth. I'm talking from personal experience, okay? I did not know my worth growing up. So because of that, I'd give myself away to these people, these guys. And I was so oblivious, I was so naive. I gave myself away, and then boom, they took advantage of that. But now that I know my worth, it creates a different standard, okay? It creates a standard in your life. Look, I know my worth. So if you're not meeting my standards, and it's not even like an arrogant thing like, okay, you must, worship me at my feet. It's not that type of vibe, okay? It's a type of thing of, look, this is what I expect. If you're not meeting that, then you can't be my boyfriend. You can't be with me. Listen, I'm a child of God. I should be respected. I should be loved. I should be treated with the utmost love, respect, and honor. And if you're not going to treat me that way, then bye. Like, it goes for the same, guys and girls. You need to have that worth so that you don't start giving yourself away to people, so that you don't give your purity away so easily to people, so that you don't fall into temptation, so you don't give your heart away and get it broken so easily. Another amazing thing that I heard from that Pastor Rich Wilkerson, he says, as fast as you came together will be as fast as you come apart, because there's no foundations there. And that literally ties in with all the different points I spoke about. If you get with someone so quickly because you just want that relationship, you're idolizing that thing, I just want to be with someone so badly, as fast as you came together is going to be as fast as it comes apart. Even if it does last like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, the same way it started is going to be the same way it ends. If it started based off insecurities, it's going to end because of your insecurities. You're going to get to some point in your relationship and your partner's going to get so sick of you because he's like, this girl or this man is so insecure about themselves, I can't deal with it any longer. And that's going to come crashing down. If you have trust issues in the beginning of your relationship and you started with those trust issues in your heart, that's going to be the main factor that's going to end your relationship in a few years' time or a few months' time. So whatever it is that you start with, that's going to be the main reason that your relationship is going to end one day. And I'm telling you, I'm talking from experience because I've seen it time and time again. So if you don't know your worth, it's going to actually end because you never knew your worth from the beginning. So this is why it's so important to have all of these things in check. Becoming the one before you find the one. Becoming healthy, having good habits, having good morals, having good standards, knowing how to communicate, being healed from your past, knowing how to forgive, knowing how to overcome, knowing how to have the hard conversations in relationships. knowing how to communicate, and most importantly, not idolizing. If you seek God wholeheartedly and seek for His will in your life, just run your race. Just run your race, okay? When you're running, you have your eyes focused on the goal, focus on God. What's going to happen? One minute you're going to look to your side, and there's going to be someone there running their race. And you're like, oh, are you heading to God as well? And he's going to be like, yeah, I'm heading to God as well. What's going to happen? You're going to just meet. And just like the triangle, okay, not Illuminati, the God triangle, okay? There's someone, and then God. So you, someone, and God. This is a triangle, and it's not Illuminati. I'm just putting that out. This is a triangle. If you're focused on relationships, it's just going to be you and that person clashing all the time. But look what happens when you go up the triangle, the person goes up the triangle, you guys are going to meet at the top with God at the center. And that's the type of relationships you want in your life, God-centered relationships, okay? This can go for friendships as well. But having God at the top and you both seek God at the top, you're both going to meet rather than you just clashing at the bottom. Keep God at the center and you guys will meet at the top at the triangle. And let me just end on this powerful point. It's better to be single and stuck than married and stuck. That is key. It's better to be single and stuck, single and figuring life out and feeling lonely, than getting into a marriage that you were never meant to be in because you didn't heal from all those things, and against that marriage and now you're stuck and now you're wondering, what have I done? So make sure to fix all these things before you get into a relationship. I hope this video has blessed you. If you have any other tips to share with us, comment it down below so we can encourage everyone watching this video right now. God bless you all, and I'll see you all in my next video.